Relationships are everything. They're everywhere in life. They're a part of everything we do. And that's why today we're going to deep dive into 7 habits to stronger relationships. What can we do to foster the right foundations and build upon those foundations to create tremendously dynamic relationships? That's the question we all want to know. So here we're going to take you through a few steps that you can implement right away and create awareness. That's what it's about. It's about awareness. Like, we're not talking about being perfect all of the. We're human beings. We screw up more times than not. It's not about limiting the screw-ups. It's about creating the recovery systems to allow you to show up better the next time. Hello, construction professionals. Welcome to the podcast where we flip the script on what it means to live, breathe, and lead construction today. In this podcast series, we unpack how great construction can really be when you lead with humanity, put people first, and drop the bullshit of the way it's always been done. Our world has changed, our conversations have changed, and it's time construction catches up. Welcome to another episode, People First, Then Construction. Jonathan Sinelli, thanks for making time and space to be here today. Really fun, really exciting relationships. How we show up for others is one of the greatest gifts we can offer. And showing up for others begins with being true to ourselves, looking after ourselves first. And I want to pivot right into the sponsor for today's episode, Turmerix. I've talked about Turmerix so many times in the past. Stronger immunity, reduced inflammation, reduced joint pain, better overall health and wellness. This is a secret weapon for me. It is magical. Link will be in the show notes. Use code PEOPLEFIRST, all in capitals, for $10 discount and free shipping. Turmerix, the root of all good. Code PEOPLEFIRST, all in capitals. Save yourself a few bucks. All right. Let's get right into this. 7 habits to stronger relationships. Number 1, connect more. Stop keeping score. What the hell does that really mean? Look, we all come into relationships with conceived ideologies and notions on what we expect each person to do within that relationship. And that leads to a game of scorekeeping. We can become annoyed and resentful when things sort of fall short of those expectations. And we consciously or subconsciously keep scoring our heads. I did this, so you should do this. I'm winning the game, and you owe me one. And man, is that energy sucking. So if you do one thing within your relationships, stop keeping score. Show up the way you choose to show up, and actually be there. We've talked about it in the past. You know, the greatest thing about life is giving. So give and do it wholeheartedly and do it without anything expected in return. Number 2, be honest. It sounds so simple and so cliche, and yet it is so magical. Look, we have a saying in our household that says honesty gets rewarded, and that really gets down to if you're honest about what happens, we can support you through anything. You may not agree with the approach, you may not always agree with your thought process, your ideologies, and that's on me to sort through. So show up with honesty. No happy people are dishonest, and no happy relationships consist of unhappy people. Be honest about shit. The best thing you can say is, I made a mistake. I'm sorry. I screwed up. And then go to recovery mode and fix it. Get better for next time. Number 3, take a temperature reading on mood. You know, this is like the Jerry Maguire of mood. Sometimes you got to flip the script, throw the table upside down, and just give things a little shake. But before you do that, you need to have a true temperature reading on what's really going on. We all have good and bad moments throughout the day. When you approach somebody and you know that they're a little bit off, become curious, check in with them, support them. Be there to uplift each other's mood and help bring the lightheartedness into the equation. Sometimes a little bit of lighthearted jokiness can really elevate, amplify, and change the game for things. And know when to stop. Sometimes we push too far. Number 4, actively listen. Give a shit about the person there. Become curious. It becomes so easy to be wrapped up in our own heads, our own problems, our own agendas. Day-to-day stuff is so overwhelming. We call it the daily grind. And when you choose to show up and actively listen and truly be present, not distracted, my goodness, does that foster great relationships. When you show up wholeheartedly for the person in front of you, you dig for what's not being said. You actually learn. And when you learn what's going on in their world, wow, can that change perspective? Think of a scenario where you actually showed up and you were actually listening to what was going on rather than volleying back and forth information, waiting for your time to talk, and see how things change for you. Take a different way. Think of a different approach when yelling was involved. Does anything land when you yell? The answer is no. It's emotionally charged. Yeah, we all do it. Like, I'm not here to tell you that I'm perfect. Man, I've had some pretty weak moments, especially in the past couple of weeks, whether that be professionally, personally, or recreationally. And it's not about not screwing up. It's about recovery. It's about recovering. And when I've screwed up, I've had the awareness to go back and say, you were attempting to tell me something and it truly wasn't there for you. And my reaction didn't serve well, wasn't fair to you. What's on your mind? The simplest thing is actively listen. Define what that means to you. Write that down and do it. The next thing is set the example. Set the boundaries. This is what's acceptable. This is what's not. It's really easy to turn to somebody and say, you don't listen to me, you don't listen to me, you don't listen to me. And then when they turn around and talk, you're not there. You're not listening to them. Or you don't demonstrate love and compassion. And if you're not demonstrating that love and compassion, then how would you expect it to come back to you? Sometimes we look externally for the validation to say, you must fill my bucket. I'm expecting you to do this. The old leadership example, don't ask somebody to do something you're not willing to do yourself. So set the example, set the expectations, create the boundaries. Number 6, every once in a while, it's okay to be a pain in the ass sometimes. Trying to compete with the other person lightheartedly every once in a while is not a bad thing. Look, our brains like certainty. And if life was certain all of the time and there was no variety, man, would we get bored. That's why sometimes it is okay to be a pain in the ass, while being respectfully fun about it. Be playful. If you're always in agreement and never challenge each other, it takes the humanity out of the relationship. You're simply a robot creating tasks back and forth. So every once in a while, create a little bit of resistance. Be a pain in the ass every once in a while and be respectful about it. This is dramatically different than being an asshole. It's not okay to be an asshole. It's okay to be a pain in the ass. And there is a real distinction between the two. I would say the number one thing for me is to be kind. Look, we hear that all over the place like it's just this fluffy word that gets overused. And when you dig into what kindness is for you and you show up that way, my gosh, does it change things? Ask yourself, how am I being kind in this situation? Is what I'm thinking helpful or harmful? Are my thoughts serving well right now? It takes the awareness. Again, look, we all have breaking points where there's times where we're not kind. It's the recovery. Clean it up fast. As you do so, you're going to become more resilient. Stay honest and true to who you are and act in alignment to your values. Sometimes what people really want is to be acknowledged and cared for. Kind words, kind habits, kind gestures help foster that environment, support that, and create experiences that stick with people. In low moments, those are the places your mind goes to. Anyhow, 7 key things. Connect more. Stop keeping score. Be honest. Take a temperature reading on the mood and flip the script if necessary. Actually listen. Show the hell up because you care. Set the example. Create the boundaries. Be a pain in the ass sometimes, not an asshole. And be kind. Look, thanks for being here to the end. I hope this was of value to you. I hope you got something out of it. If that's the case, subscribe to the show, pass the message on, and keep the show going. Thanks. Until we connect again next time, do something great.